Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the installment of Scott's Selections here for Tuesday, December 15th. Before we get into today's play of the day, a quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up giving out two plays, one in college basketball and one in the NFL. We lost the NFL plays. We took Baker Mayfield under 224.5 passing yards and minus 112 on DraftKings. The line ended up dropping to 210.5, so we beat a 14-yard move, but unfortunately it didn't matter. Baker went way over. Lamar went way under. Lamar rushing ended up happening. The game, went over. The game was a lot more high scoring than people thought. You had some under money coming in, which was an absolute joke because the game totaled roughly, I forgot what it was, 87 points or so. Very, very crazy game. One of the best NFL games of the season. And either way, picked up a loser there. And then we gave out a college basketball play on Pepperdine -2, and that ended up climbing to 2.5. But unfortunately, the game ended up getting canceled because UNLV had a positive COVID test. So that game ended up getting voided. But either way, we're going to be going back to college basketball here on Tuesday. We're going to be looking at a total in this one. It's going to be a matchup between Appalachian State and Tennessee. And we're doing something we haven't done so far this year in college basketball. We're going to be taking an under. And we're going to be taking the under at 130.5 at minus 108 on FanDuel, a time recording of 1:59 a.m. Eastern time. Now, a couple reasons why I like the under 130.5 in this matchup between Appalachian State and Tennessee. First of all, Appalachian State and Tennessee have been great defensively. Tennessee's only giving up 51.5 points per game. Appalachian State's only giving up 55.2 points per game. So both teams have been great defensively. I do think that this game will turn into a rock fight. I think that both teams should struggle to get over 60 points in this game. But looking at some other factors, both teams are also tremendously slow on offense in terms of pace. Tennessee ranks 293rd in adjusted offensive tempo according to KenPom rankings. Meanwhile, Appalachian State ranks 245th in adjusted offensive tempo according to KenPom rankings. So both teams don't really like to play in transition at all. They like to play in the half court. Very, very slow style, and you do expect to see a lot of shot clock being eaten up in each possession, which should lead to less overall possessions for both teams. Plus, Appalachian State, if you look at their numbers so far this season, they're statistically averaging 80.5 points per game, which sounds like a lot. However, there are a couple of outliers because they've played two games against non-Division I opponents in which they've combined for 186 points, which means that if you look at their other two games they've played against regular D1 competition, they have failed to score more than 69 points in regulation against a Division I team this season. They ended up breaking 70 in an overtime game against Bowling Green, but they only had 69 in regulation of that one. And they also struggled offensively against Charlotte in their last game. So offensively, they have been really, really underwhelming. And I do think that will be a huge factor here as they end up playing against Tennessee, who has one of the most underrated defenses in the entire country. But looking at some of Appalachian State's numbers, really just not a great offensive team once you break it down. Scoring 61 on the road against Charlotte's not that impressive. And the game against Bowling Green, scoring 69 points against a Bowling Green defense that has been very underwhelming up to this point. If you look at Bowling Green's numbers so far this season, give up 96 to Michigan, give up 78 to South Carolina State, gave up 78 to Buffalo, give up 85 to Wright State. This is not a good defensive team, and that they were able to hold Appalachian to below 70 points in regulation. I don't think they're going to get to 60 in this one. I think they'll probably finish somewhere around 55 or so. And Tennessee isn't exactly built to blow teams out as they're really just been awful on offense so far this season. I know Tennessee's undefeated, and they won a couple of close games. They ended up beating Cincinnati in their last game. But offensively speaking, this team might have a lot of talent, but they don't show it on offense because this team has been struggling a lot. They scored 56 points against Colorado in their opener, won that game by 9, so that score was 56-47, and then ended up winning their last game against Cincinnati by the score of 65-56. So this team wins by defense only because they've yet to score more than 65 points in a single game this season. I think will probably break that here, and they'll probably end up scoring 70 or so, but I do think that 130.5 is a little bit too high. I think Tennessee will probably win around 70-55 or so. And you've already seen a little bit of money coming in on this under as it has gone from 132 to 130.5. I think this one will probably close in the 120s, probably around 128, 127. I really don't see where the buyback's going to come in on the over. So for that reason, the play that once again here for Tuesday, December 15th is going to be on Appalachian State and Tennessee under 130.5 at minus 108 on FanDuel. That's been the installment Scott Selections. Good luck to all of you and respective bets today. Bye, everyone.